Star Citizen is currently in disaster mode. The new 3.18 update for the game has caused the servers to basically melt down into an unplayable state. After months and months of waiting and testing, the developers finally pushed their extremely massive patch out to the live servers, and it has not gone well. As of making this video, the servers are either completely down or mostly down, and even if you're able to log in by some miracle, all the in-game systems fail, so it's still pretty much unplayable. Now, there is of course a reason for all of this occurring. Whether or not it's a good reason is really for you to decide, but Star Citizen's 3.18 patch is not just some random update. It's fundamentally redesigning the entire way the game communicates with servers, in addition to other massive changes. Which means that while they were building the patch, it more or less broke just about every system in the game, which had to be painstakingly repaired. And the tech behind this patch has been in development for well over a year, and the testing phase has been massive. It's also been massively delayed, with the original projection targeting a launch in the third quarter of last year. The work required to make Star Citizen function with this brand new replication layer technology has been hugely underestimated by Cloud Imperium, mostly because this tech hasn't been used before by pretty much anyone. The programmers are forging new ground in online gaming, and clearly it's been difficult and very hard to predict how long it's going to take. And with the patch launching on Friday of last week and it now being Tuesday, the multiplayer universe has been more or less unplayable the entire time. And again, those who have been able to log in haven't really been able to accomplish much. Thousands and thousands of players have been trying to log in, which has shown that 3.18 server tech cannot yet function at this scale. Nor could other systems. Prior to the patch even launching last week, the actual Star Citizen forums were crashing due to so many players refreshing the website while waiting for the launch announcement. And part of the reason that Cloud Imperium actually launched the patch in its current state was because they needed to test the patch at mass scale. And scale is exactly what they got, with CIG describing massive player login attempts, which is both encouraging that there are so many players that want to try this new update and disappointing that the update has failed so spectacularly. And I have seen some people suggest that CIG knew this patch would fail at this level, as they had already announced a major fix-it patch was in the works prior to launch, but there still isn't much of a reason to completely torpedo your servers and make the game this unplayable. It's also just really unfortunate timing with the new promotional trailers that are further hyping this update. CIG dropped three really cool trailers showcasing the new features and new ships coming with the update. The Lasting Legacies trailer does a great job of hyping the new persistence tech. Basically everything in the universe that's dropped or crashes or dies will now persist in that location until somebody finds it and takes it. You know how in basically every video game ever your body despawns after you die? Well, not in Star Citizen, not anymore, nor will your spaceship. It's pretty wild technology when it's actually working. Cargo now persists as well, allowing pirates to board and steal cargo or fish it out of shipwrecks. There's new racetracks and time trial missions for those tracks, an entirely new salvaging profession which allows players to profit from salvaging shipwrecks. There's new derelict outposts that look really cool, new cave archetypes, new rivers and canyons, new prison missions, a massive update to security post Korea, turning it into a PvP mission location, and frankly a whole lot more. The patch is extremely content rich, and the trailers as usual do a great job of hyping it up, which normally would be great for the game, but currently the hype is driving players towards an unplayable dumpster fire of a situation. Now, is this the worst state that Star Citizen's ever been in? Arguably not. In 2017, the 3.0 patch also brought tons of new features that broke the game for many and wasn't fixed for quite some time. However, back in 2017, the active player base was also much smaller than it is today, as there was just far less gameplay loops available. However, today, Star Citizen can easily be played on a daily basis, and many players do. So while it wasn't a great situation at the time of 3.0's launch, the scale of the problem is arguably a lot worse today. That said, I don't believe the server issues will persist for a particularly long time, because after all, 3.18 was working in the the public test universe, and I played it there and made videos of it working and functioning, as did many others. We all know that the tech does technically work. What we're experiencing now is a scalability issue, which was pretty much the main reason the patch was pushed to the live servers to test this specifically. And while I don't imagine that the fix is going to be particularly easy, I also don't think it's going to require anywhere near as much time to get under control versus, say, a fundamental engine issue or a major performance problem that may need months of recoding. Currently, CIG is directing people to follow a status thread that updates players on the current server status and issues. I'll leave a link to this page in the video description, and it does sound like they're making progress in figuring out the problems, but at the same time, they're certainly not out of the woods yet. And frankly, I wouldn't expect the game to become immediately playable once a fix is deployed. It'll probably start to get more and more stable as more and more issues are resolved. It's possible that the game will be playable by the end of the week, but potentially with a myriad of bugs that will still take multiple weeks to get under control. And if we're being perfectly honest here, Star Citizen is and always has been semi-broken and very buggy. It is an alpha after all, but there is a state of normalcy that most players have grown accustomed to, which is that we expect bugs and broken systems, but generally speaking, we also expect to be able to find workarounds to most of them. However, once the workarounds stop working, then it becomes a real problem for all players. And currently, there's pretty much no workarounds in game. Stuff is just flat out broken. In the limited time I was able to join servers, I ran into mostly non-functional missions, quantum UI not working, mission UI not working, all terminals including Aesop's terminals not functioning, elevators not working, inventory not loading or not transferring, or transferring but then the items going back after the transfer, getting stuck in seats, doors not opening, weapon reloads not registering, and basically every system in the game being either somewhat buggy or totally broken. Again, we know that this patch does function at a smaller scale due to playing on the public test universe. The issues are stemming from the scalability and database struggling to keep up with the massive ingest. It's a crap situation from all perspectives. Generally speaking though, I think most players are handling it okay. Everyone knew 3.18 was going to be a massive tech update for the game, and longtime fans are pretty used to major tech patches breaking the games in different ways. That said, one does have to wonder if there may have been a better way to approach this launch, like employing a better incentive system to overload the test servers and test the scalability there. It's hard to know if that would have really worked though. Even I stopped logging into the public test servers as I was just waiting for the game to hit live like pretty much everyone else. Perhaps this process of breaking the game with big updates is just the necessary growing pains of Star Citizen, with static server meshing and dynamic server meshing being the two remaining major overhauls to the game's back-end tech. If the community has to go through this process 2 more times before the engine is more or less finalized, then I think for the most part players are going to stick around for it. It's just one of the first times I can remember seeing such an active community of this new, much bigger player base have the game shut down on them for days on end. To me, CIG clearly didn't want this and almost certainly wasn't expecting it to be quite this bad, but perhaps it's just a necessary process in the pursuit of such groundbreaking technology. Of course, I'll be waiting to hop in once the major issues are resolved and start building up my character in the new, even more persistent universe. I'd be curious to know what you think about the 3.18 patch and how you're feeling about not being able to play the game, assuming that you're an active player in the first place. Next up, check out my Star Citizen weapon video showing all of the amazingly detailed and interesting guns that this game offers. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.